Hello, and welcome back to the Stellar Map. Now, today we're going to be talking about the moon and its phases and eclipses. So this is a topic that's often misunderstood by people, so I thought I'd do a video to cover it. Now, 3 things we need to understand to learn about the moon phases is the sun, the earth, and the moon. So, first let's talk about the moon and its phases. So, let's draw the moon in each of its phases around the earth. So we have the earth here in the center, and we have one, two. Okay, now the moon will always look the same from a view like this that we're looking at. It will always look the same to us. It'll look like a half moon. And like this, like this. So, as the sun shines light on this system, and the earth as well, so as the light shines on the system, this half of the moon will be bright. It'll just be receiving light, and thus this side will be bright, and this side will be dark. So, we'll call this the dark side, and this the light side. So now that we have the light and dark side, and the same happens for Earth at night, okay? So we have Earth at night, and the moons are all light on this side and dark on this side. So we have Earth at night here and Earth at day here. So obviously we only see the moon at night. So the day part doesn't really matter too much. So now let's focus on the dark side. Now, let's think about Earth at night looking at this moon. So right now that's how Earth is oriented. So Earth at night is looking at this moon. And what do we see? We see the whole light side. So all we see is the light side. So this is the full moon. So when the Earth is at night and we're looking at this moon, we see it's completely bright. It's fully filled in. Now that's the full moon. Now how about these two moons? What's happening here? So now the Earth as an observer right here, you're looking at this moon and you see mostly light, but yeah. So you'll see mostly light, but you'll see a little bit of darkness. So it'll look something like this. So this, as we probably know, is a gibbous moon. Now, yep, so you'll see a little bit of darkness here, a little bit of lightness here. So this would be a gibbous. And it can be either waxing or waning, depending on which side you're on. So over here, your view would see mostly light, but a little bit of dark side. So you'll see something like this as well. Now, the same happens over here. You're gonna look down from Earth onto this moon, and you'll see half light and half darkness. So here we'll have a half moon. So we're looking down, looking at that moon, we're gonna see half the light side and half the dark side. Now, and yeah, that's gonna give us a half moon. Half moon. Now, and the same would be true for over here. Now, it's a little hard to represent in this way because Earth is not exactly in the system, but at night we would still see the moon in its light and dark side at a little bit of a different angle, but just for imagination's purposes. Now, we'll see a little bit of the dark side. We'll see a lot of the dark side and just a little bit of the light side. So that would be looking like the crescent moon as we know here. That makes sense. And the same is true for the new moon, except we don't see any of the light side of the moon. So all we'll see is darkness. So we have crescent. And gibbous over here. So yeah, that's the main explanation of the moon's phase. Quick thing that I forgot to mention in my original explanation of the lunar eclipses is that the reason that we see the lunar eclipses within a month is because the moon orbits the Earth in a period of 1 month. So the moon is orbiting Earth, and that orbit is about 1 month long. And because of that, the moon moves along these spots each night, slowly, gradually changing through the phases, and the cycle is 1 month long, which is why it changes throughout these cycles each month. So now let's talk about eclipses. So for eclipses, again, we just need the sun, earth, and moon. So first, let's look at a solar eclipse. So we have the sun here, the moon, and the earth. So now the solar eclipse is pretty straightforward, and most people have the correct explanation of it. So the sun's light rays go into the moon, and the moon does cast a shadow over the earth. So therefore we don't see the sun fully, we see the moon covering it. So often the solar eclipse would look like this, and with this inner region seeming black, and then we can see a slight ring outside of it since the moon isn't able to fully cover the sun's rays. But lunar eclipse is a bit more interesting and a little harder to explain. So now let's look at a lunar eclipse, also known as a blood moon. Now, what's happening here is the Earth is covering the moon with a shadow. So here we have the moon, not drawn to scale. And now we have Earth's shadow on the moon. So now, how come we just don't see the moon at all? Now, this is because of something called Rayleigh scattering. So essentially, as the sun's rays hit Earth, they first collide with our atmosphere. Now, our atmosphere scatters blue light a lot more than it does red light. And therefore, on sunsets, or in the day, we see the sky as a bluish color. But during sunsets, we see it as red, since in the day, the light is more direct, straightforward. As I've said before, this is the day side. Light is more direct and straightforward, and it goes directly onto us, into our eyes. And therefore, the blue light doesn't have to scatter too much, and it can just get to our eyes quickly. However, during a sunset, when we're over here, we'll make another ring over here, and then we'll call this the atmosphere. So now, in this ring or the atmosphere, if we're over here, which is like about sunset, and over here we'll have night. Over here, the light is traveling through more atmosphere to reach your eyes. Therefore, the atmosphere has more time to allow red light through and get to your eyes. That's why sunsets look more pinkish, reddish into the reddish spectrum. And the blue light, as I said, is scattered more by the atmosphere, gets scattered out, and you don't see it as much. Now, over here at the moon, although it may seem like the Earth is is casting a full shadow on the moon. We'll draw it a bit further back. It may seem like the Earth is putting a full shadow on the moon. Some light coming from the atmospheres, passing through the atmospheres, hits the moon. So it casts this reddish shadow. I don't have a red marker, but imagine this as a reddish wavelength colors. Are hitting the moon and causing it to look like a blood moon. So yeah, that's pretty much how it works. So first of all, it'll be a full moon, that's because of how I explained before. But as it passes into the range of Earth's shadow, that blood moon gets slowly turned into a red moon. Imagine these streaks are red. So the same way we see the moon's phases around the Earth, the moon will slowly turn red as it passes into the Earth's shadow. Since the Earth's shadow is fully dark, aside from the reddish light that's passed through the atmosphere around the Earth's ring. So that's a bit on how lunar eclipses work. Thank you for watching, and that's it for this video.